I really want Luxxxe to normalize sex being luxurious, not a luxury, because there's a difference.
Okay, let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough: the aftermath of good sex. Because let's be honest, the last thing you want to do is be fully in the moment, worried about who's cleaning up the mess afterwards. No more changing the sheets late at night because that gets old, right? And that's why I found Splash Blanket, the most luxurious waterproof blanket that lets you completely let go in the bedroom without having to worry about the cleanup after. It's 100% waterproof and is literally the most soft thing ever. I love how this feels on my skin, and it holds up to a liter of liquid. It was created by an Aussie woman who literally got sick of the midnight sheet change killing the vibe, so she designed something that supported pleasure. Whether it's partnered sex, solo sex, period sex, or you just want to feel more relaxed in your body, it removes the mental block. This is called a psychological sex toy because when your brain is able to feel safe to make a mess, your body can enjoy more pleasure. So yeah, if you've ever held back because you didn't want to deal with the aftermath of good sex, this is your permission slip. Get yourself a splash blanket and you'll thank me later. Use code Jordan15 to save 15% on your splash blanket. I have the leopard one at home and I absolutely love it. See show notes for important safety information. Let's talk about a birth control option that I found and absolutely love: Phexx. Yeah, you heard that right. A birth control that I like. If you have been around here a while, you know that I really support women finding what is right for them and listening to their own bodies. And there are options for literally every single woman when it comes to birth control. If you're someone like myself who's looking for a non-hormonal birth control option, Phexx may be right for you, and I'd recommend taking a look at it. Phexx is a on-demand birth control option. You just use it within an hour before intercourse. I like to say Phexx before you sex, and it's immediately effective. You don't have to include it in your daily routine at all, which is really nice and makes it very convenient. It does not contain hormones. It is FDA approved and available by prescription. It is covered by most commercial insurances as well as state Medicaid programs. Also, how could I not forget the lubricating properties of Phexx, which adds for a little bonus. What's unique about the way that Phexx works is that it maintains the vaginal pH, which creates for an unfriendly environment for sperm, and it keeps the vagina very acidic. So if you're curious about a non-hormonal birth control option, you can go to phexx.com, phexx.com to learn more, and you can also get a telehealth prescription right there. For more information and to learn more, go to phexx.com. Phexx is available in the United States by prescription only. This is your favorite podcast host with a little reminder for you. If you are sexually active, STI testing should be a part of your self-care. We normalize orgasms and taking accountability over here. Just like charging your vibrator and washing your sheets, STI testing should be a part of your routine. That's why I found ProDX Health. It is my favorite at-home STI testing company that is literally so easy to use and very convenient and in the privacy of my own home. Confidence in the bedroom starts with your sexual health. Use code Jordan for 25% off your test kits at prodxhealth.com. Welcome to Vaginas, Vulvas, and Vibrators with Jordan Donnell. This is a safe place to learn about women's health and sexual wellness. I'm your host, Jordan Donnell, physician assistant, women's sexual health educator, and intimacy coach. This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Please seek your medical professional's direction and guidance. The views and opinions on this podcast reflect my own and my guests and are no representation of any institution or organization that I work for. Welcome back to the Vaginas, Vulvas, and Vibrators podcast. Today I have Cynthia here from Luxxxe Toys, and I'm so excited to chat with her about how toys and wellness all plays a role together. So before we dive into that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I was so excited when you reached out. I know we hit it off at the convention. So thank you again for making time for this. And it just worked out perfect. A little bit about myself is I'm just a mom, four babies, a wife, and just living that average, ordinary life. I went to school, majored in psychology, and I'm like, what am I ever going to do with that? Became a mom and a wife, and I'm like, oh, I need this. And then recently my husband said, we're moving into this industry. And I was like, what? So our background is real estate and investments, and I had no idea where I was going to fit in. And crazy enough, my background, childhood experiences and things actually, I feel like have made it an interesting transition and very relatable.
What was your demand when you told your husband that he wanted to do this? What did you tell him that was the only way you were going to do it?
From my personal beliefs, if we kept it as streamlined as possible, and I really wanted to focus on the wellness side of it and educating people and informing people. Again, my sometimes basic, average, ordinary life, I'm around a majority of the populations. We're moms, we're wives, we're ex-wives, we're widows, so hearing the conversations specifically around sex and the large part of our life that it is, I've learned so much about how much information is missing. My girlfriends, the doctor's appointments we're going to, and the changes in our bodies, and it was always around, and I never realized how much we talked about it. So I was like, if we focus on that side and we blend those two together and we keep it a very high-end, informative business, okay, let's do this.
I'm on board.
Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board.
I love it. Yeah, and I've had a chance to check out the Luxxxe Toys when we were at AVN, and I want to talk a little bit about AVN today too. But why do you think that it is so important to bridge the gap between pleasure and sexual wellness?
That's such a good question. I think it's so important because they go hand in hand. And so to act like they're separate is never going to work. We are sexual beings. God created us to be that way. So to not understand the wellness functionality, and how it works, how it doesn't work, how to fix certain things, how to enhance certain things, how do you get to the pleasure? Yeah. So I almost don't understand how they don't go together. And I think that's why my innate response was, I'm only going to do it if it goes this way, because that was my journey to it. And the more I spoke to the, again, average, ordinary female out there, the more I realized I wasn't alone on that.
Well, and I think that so often, when we start looking at our education systems and looking at what kids are told, it's very separate. And pleasure is still this shameful, stigmatized thing that especially women should not be having pleasure, is a lot of the messaging that we hear, I think, starting at a young age, where boys in particular, it's go have sex, go ejaculate wherever,
yes.
Do whatever you want. But girls, no, that's not for you. And so I think that it does go hand in hand, and having people who are leaders in this field to advocate for pleasure for women is equally as important as our wellness.
Yes. And statistically, we have more going on to make that happen. It's not quite as easy for females as it is for men. Mm-hmm. And the more I got into the industry, did research, and I knew there was gaps just based on conversations, but the more I actually understood it and really investigated it, I was shocked at how many products and information and solution were given to men for their one or two problems. And for us, there could be a plethora, and there's hardly anything out there for us.
I literally just saw this meme the other day that it was like, if men had to have periods, they wouldn't be having them anymore.
Yeah.
And
So true.
my period has been taking me out lately. And it's one of those things where it's like, has it always been like this, or is something changing? But again, like, if men ever had to deal with some of the things that we as women do, there would be solutions.
Yeah.
But women's research is very understudied.
Mm-hmm.
And even at that, research just started having to be studied, I think, in like the last 20 years on women, but it's mostly done on menopausal women because they don't have fluctuating hormones. So we're forgetting the entire menstruating population who, because our hormones have too much impact on what might be happening, which is why they should be researched, they're not doing it.
No. And they're waiting for the problem. We live in such a correctional society where I'm like, what about prevention? What about the exercises on the way there before we're menopausal and dried up and painful? Why isn't anyone studying? What if we know that if a man orgasms and ejaculates at least 20 to 22 times a month, that they're less likely to have prostate cancer. They're less likely to have these things. Why don't we have those studies on women? What is that doing to our cervical cancer rate, our uterine cancer rate, our ovarian cysts, our PCOS? Why don't we know any of those statistics?
Well, if PCOS went away by how many times I masturbated, I definitely would no longer have PCOS.
Right. What if they say, what if there was a study that showed, for every clit orgasm, you need to have 2 penetrations for PCOS, and there's a time to work through the pain and there's a time to not. And these are the types of products that would aid with something like that. It's upsetting that there's not enough out there for us. And I want to bridge that. I really want to bridge that gap.
I think it's so important. Yeah. And I think that pleasure is often treated as like a luxury and not a necessity. But the reality is, like, if we're not having pleasure, like, are we even living?
Yeah.
And like, pleasure doesn't have to look like sex. It doesn't have to look like orgasm, masturbation, right? But if you're not having pleasure in your life, like, are you alive?
Yeah. And like you said, on the education side, we're not taught. We know it's harder for females than men. So if the females aren't even being taught, men too, but we know that statistically it's harder for a woman to reach an orgasm than a man. Theirs just works. You touch it, you do this. It generally is going to work. Yeah. I mean, to live that way. But for a woman, there's a lot more going on. So if we're not even teaching the females how it works and things to do, I don't even understand how we would expect them to understand what pleasure is, to even know if they're experiencing it. Because how do you know if you don't know the definition?
Ooh, this feels like a great story to share. So when I was a teenager, I got my first vibrator. It was a back massager. I was my mom's back massager. My mom knows this story. And when she listens to this podcast, she's going to be so proud again. I broke it because I used it too much, but that's
Love it.
Neither here nor there. So I didn't know I was orgasming when that's what I was experiencing. I had no clue that it felt so good and what was actually happening until I got into my 20s and I was like, oh, that was an orgasm? Wait, I've been orgasming since I was 8 years old, humping pillows, and had no clue that that's what that was.
I was almost 21 when I had my first sexual partner, like actual intercourse. And I remember being 21, which is even older, and we had sex and he did what his body did. And I was like, that was it? That was what I waited 21 years for? Like, oh my gosh, my G-spot doesn't work. I didn't go. Like, there's something wrong with me is where I went right away. And again, talking to females, raising teenagers, but my oldest is a daughter, learning how much they don't understand their bodies and internalize the problems. I mean, we do it with weight, looks, everything. Of course, we're going to do it with sex. So.
And that's where, where do we even start with this, right? It's like your products, a lot of these conversations, they're 18 years and older, but the problem starts so much younger.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
My solution to that is obviously the parents are the ones that need to be informed to teach their kids.
Yes.
Because our school system, we already know, sure as hell isn't going to do anything when it comes to female bodies. They're going to push birth control and not teach you about your menstrual cycle or teach you all the things that you need to know. And so it's like, how do we get the people that are going to teach the young people to know this information?
I think that's the greatest problem, because once you've identified it, then we work on solutions. And I think that people like you, hopefully Luxxxe, I think that there's so many of us moving towards information, education, and how can we get it out there quicker and faster, because that is the only way that it's going to do it. I'm a large believer in the education system shouldn't be our main source of sexual information, regardless if they get their shit together. It should come from the parents. So we need to inform them and educate them. And again, this is why I love the wellness side, because one thing most people do is go to a doctor and they trust the doctors and they have more intimate conversations with doctors. So if we can get them the information, the products, the understanding of it, then they can be a vessel to put that information out. And I think it's such a great environment to do it because it's private. Right away, people always feel we're culturally programmed to know that that's where you bring your problems. You know, people don't want to talk about stuff, but you get to your doctor and all of a sudden you get there and vomit because we're culturally programmed to do it. So if we make this more comfortable and the doctors knowing what questions to ask to identify it, I think is a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, coming from the medical field, like I have lots of thoughts and opinions about that.
Oh my gosh,
in a lot of
I
different ways, because it's like, it's hard, you know? Yesterday's a prime example. I saw 32 people in 8 hours.
This is crazy.
What are you going to do? When am I going to have any time? But I tell you what, well, I'm not going to say I'm different, but I'm a little different. When I have the ones that are coming in for sexual complaints, I always spend an extra few minutes with them to talk about the things, because that's my area of interest.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, like, that's not the case for a lot of people. And you don't have that extra time every single patient, which makes it really challenging. And how do we bridge that gap? Because the reality is most people can't afford, there's tons of free education, but they can't afford to pay for an additional resource to give them the education. You know, their doctors could refer them somewhere, but that takes money, time, resources, and depending on when we start looking at socioeconomical status, we start looking at all these things. Yeah, it's not logical for the majority of the people.
Yeah, I think that's why things like your podcast are so important, and I was so excited to be a part of it, because social media can be its curse and technology can be, you know, a double-edged sword, but in a platform like this, used responsibly and correctly, it can be so helpful for those who don't live in a place where they can necessarily access and have access to certain resources and things like that. I think it's beautiful what you're doing and getting the information out there and making it a comfortable place to talk to. And I just can't wait till we figure out a way to get it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge project. And I think that there's a lot of people who are collectively working on it, and it's going to take time, and I don't know that we'll see it in our generation.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's definitely a big movement. It was a little bit of like a tangent, but when we started the business, I was kind of like, how am I going to tell my children I'm doing this? They're going to walk in and see like things that have been distorted, or they've been taught and programmed to believe that they are things that are not, or dirty, or we don't talk about this, or, you know, all of those. So I was really scared to bring it around them. And I don't know, God's grace, his timing, I don't even know what you call it. It has opened up some amazing conversations with my kids, some of their friends who have questions, and my kids will bring it to me like, hey, they asked about this. I'm like, oh, well, you can point them here. You can show them this. There's this resource. So it's actually been like amazing, as scary as this journey's been, and trying to figure out where you fit in and how to keep it, because the industry for so long, as you know, has been deemed one way and kind of ran one way. Mm-hmm. And I think we have a lot more females coming in, and I think it's changing, and I love the change.
Yes. Let's talk about AVN. So there's like so many parts that I want to talk about AVN. This was my second year going to AVN and your guys's as well. Mm-hmm. What did you love the most about AVN?
The people.
Yeah.
Which I thought I was going to hate the most.
Really?
It's just been such a cool journey for me. I've been put in my place several times. I've been told I'm like on the right path. First year we were B2B, so I didn't get to see a lot of the other side that I was unsure of. And then this side we were B2C. I met a lot of consumers and I was scared that I'd be out of my league, so much more experience, so much more focused, and nothing wrong with it, just would I fit in? And the amount of people I met consumer-wise that I was able to relate and talk to that understood me and that I understood them, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not the only one that feels this way. There are solutions for some of this, as well as people like you or the Naked Truth that I was talking, like just these women who are so empowering and coming up and are just like, I love you guys. We come from real estate and investments. It is not a supportive, it is cutthroat. They will cut you. They will not talk. No one uplifts anything. And the one thing my husband and I always talk about is it's insane how supportive people are. Every email ends with a wishing you good luck on, even if it doesn't work out. It's like, hey, wishing you the best. We'll follow up next year. It is so positive and uplifting. I left so much more impressed.
Yeah. I feel like this industry, we all come together really well because of the fact that like social media is against all of us.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, like the only support that we have is within. And so we go to these things, we meet people. There's room for all of us. And I feel like if you do this type of work, you also have had to have done some type of personal growth as well. And so you know that there's enough space for literally everybody. And it doesn't matter if you do the same thing as somebody else, your spin on it, your take on it. Who cares if you're the exact same thing? We still need people in mass numbers to get the message out there, to be on that front line, to empower future young women so that they can have a different viewpoint on sex, pleasure, wellness, and all the things. So,
and I think it just shows to most of our character in the industry how much we believe in the message and the vision, that it doesn't care who's winning as long as it's being won. Yeah.
So
it's a cool feeling.
That was so powerful.
Oh.
But it's true.
It's true, right?
It's true.
I am so happy to hear others winning if it's and I was not like that before. I really wasn't. I was in a cutthroat industry where there was only so many houses. I mean, everyone knows a real estate agent. It's like a hairstylist. Oh, I know a hairstylist. There's no, a sexual wellness coach. Oh, a dysfunction medicine doc. Like, there's none of that out there yet. It's not populated. We just want it out there. I think that's so cool to be a part of that wave.
We all have the same overarching vision.
Yeah.
Like the same goal.
That's cool. Like, nothing more powerful than multiple people on the same march. So
it's so amazing. So I've done this podcast for a while. I've met tons of people.
Yeah.
And it's literally the same thing. Like everybody's just like rooting each other on. Where nobody's in competition with each other.
No judgment.
Yeah. Definitely no judgment.
Like that was so cool to me. Like I was scared that I was going to be judged for being different. And they're just the most accepting, open people ever. It's wild. But I learned so much too. I learned terms and things I had like no idea about. And no one ever made me feel dumb or uninformed for not understanding things or being at their level or their specifics, or anything like that. It was all around a positive experience. Exhausting, but positive.
Absolutely exhausting. Right? I was only there for like 36 hours. And I got home. Well, I didn't even get home. I got to work the next day and I'm just like, I'm dead. Yes. I'm dead.
I told my husband, I was like, I can't see another vibrator for a couple of days. Not that matters because he's like, we're having sex tonight. I'm like, great.
On that note, are you guys going to Stimulate?
Which one is that?
The one in Nashville that I was talking about.
I want to go so bad. We are trying to make it. Okay, let's do that and make it work. I know he's going to Altitude.
Okay.
That's next month.
Okay.
But I want to make it to that one so bad. That was the first one that I heard about when I started doing my own research on that lane. So
I have so many things to say, but they're all kind of not public yet.
Okay.
Hush, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And there's so much to go. You should be at Stimulate, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm curious, before we kind of go back to bridging wellness gap, let's talk about at AVN Awards. You guys won an award.
Yay.
I was so excited because I had like talked to your husband all day, and then I was at the awards and I was like, wait, I know that guy. And so tell us about what award you guys won.
So it was for our Jaxon. That's this one. This is actually our male prostate.
Let's open it up. Let's take a look.
Yeah, go for it. It's so funny. We were like really, we got a couple nominations and we wanted best packaging. And we worked really hard on it. And when we didn't win, we were so bummed. And then we won this. And it was such a surprise. And it was such a great eye-opener for us. Like, hey, you might think this matters. Like, pay attention to all the things. Everyone's looking. Everyone's watching.
The packaging is literally fire.
Thank you.
Fire.
Thank you. I wanted, it's Luxxxe. I want it to be a nice high-end.
So this baby is so soft.
Yes.
All of your toys are so soft. Not me. Giving it a bad. But yeah, tell us about its features. How does it work?
So it's a prostate massager, and you should be able to turn it on. It'll have a little battery life in it, and it'll get a little spin towards the end.
Oh. Check that out, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And if you open the charging, or you'll see.
That was so fun.
Yeah. So it'll have the little silk packaging, and then it has the remote.
There's a remote too?
Yeah, you want ease once you're up and in. You don't want to have to be behind you changing settings. So it actually won for best remote product, which I thought was
brilliant.
Yeah. That's like a difficult place to be when you're down there changing setting. Yeah, not ideal probably, getting in the way of things. So yeah, that was the one, and we're really excited about it. I love the feedback. I love, again, the shift in the industry where men are finally willing to talk about, like, we all know clit and G-spot orgasm, but they have ejaculations and a prostate orgasm. Like,
yes. And there is more like information, I think, coming out about the importance of prostate stimulation for men and reduction of, I want to say, prostate cancer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Obviously, I don't do a ton of male research because that's not my area of expertise or interest, actually. But yeah, so that's important that
it's the number one cancer in males. So if you have something that, they say 1 in 8 will get diagnosed with it. And then, but there was a Harvard study that was done, and not Harvard. It was, I wrote them down. It was a product company, and they said that the sales of prostate toys as an industry have gone up 56% for men over 45 years old. Wow. And I think that they're starting, I noticed it at AVN when we were selling most of our prostate toys. They were all to married men who just wanted a different orgasm. And I think being open and being like, hey, we want our G-spot orgasm every once in a while, homie. You want to try a prostate orgasm?
Yes.
You don't even know. Until you know, you don't know.
Men, so in my experience, when it comes to the prostate, like, men are often very, like, hesitant for anything to go
Jordan,
back there.
The amount of R&D we have done on my vagina for this business. And then when we brought in the men's line, I told my husband, let's go. He was like, I'm not testing. I'm like, what? I'm testing products every day. And he,
I want your job. Can I be a tester for you?
There was a point, I'll start sending stuff for our second wave. There was a point where he'd be like, how did you like that one? I was like, I don't even know if anything feels good anymore because I've tested so many products today. I can't tell you. I think my body's just responding, but I don't actually know. But you're right. You're 100% right. There's a pushback on them. And again, it came from an average, ordinary husband who's very sexually active, very sexually open. And even him, when it got to that point, he was like, whoa, limit.
It's an edge, yeah.
So, yeah. So anyways, it was kind of cool to win that.
That's super awesome. And the remote, brilliant idea.
Yeah.
That's such a brilliant idea because I think You're right. I never even thought about it, but getting back there would be so challenging.
And I think for
Once it's in.
men, there's such a need for them to still feel masculine, especially in that scenario when you're having sex. You don't want to be demasculated and going back there and reaching towards your butt all the time to switch settings. So to make it as easy and uninterrupted as possible so you can focus on what you're doing is what we try to do with most of our products.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
I am so excited to try these products later.
Oh, I can't
too.
wait for you to try them.
I'm like, I got a hotel room for 3 nights. I'm like, I can't wait to get home.
Yeah.
And
Send
I
me
got
a
friends
text the next day,
visiting.
be like, I slept so good because of you.
I love it. So I'm curious, like, do you think there is a psychological difference between buying a luxury toy versus buying like just a standard toy?
Yes. From what I've seen and understood so far, sex in general, for whatever reason, is deemed dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And if you talk about it outside of your marriage, it's dirtier. So to go and buy something outside of your marriage, relationship, whatever, you're at the dirtiest. And I don't know why it's classified as that. So I do think that there is a difference. And I'm not sure why, but I think it is there.
Yeah.
I've talked to some girlfriends. We've done so much research. We've walked into certain stores. I've asked my girlfriends to do it. Tell me what you felt. What was it like? Did they approach you? How did you feel when they were asking you questions? Did you ever start to open up? What was going on?
So I definitely think that when we get more of a luxury toy, you have like this luxurious feeling, right? And you can tell the difference. If you've bought one off Amazon before, like you literally feel the difference in the quality. And like, I don't know, it feels better.
Yeah,
Also, I'm a bougie bitch. So
yeah, me too. It's going on your vagina, your most important place. Like, it should be the highest end. I always tell my daughter, because, she's a teenager, so she'll buy like face products or things like this at other places. And I always tell her the one thing you don't negotiate. You negotiate other things. You do not negotiate things that go on or in your body. You get what you pay for, and your body deserves the best.
yes, it does.
You gotta live with it forever. No exchanges, no returns. So treat it right. And that's what we really tried to do with the products. Keep them medical grade silicone. Everything is waterproof. All the charging ports, we really tried to make sure that we stayed in, so there was no issues with any of that. Same thing with the lube, the candle, soy. Like, I just wanted to use clean products. Again, this just helps being the mom in the world that we're in. And I'm making my own sourdough bread now and doing all that stuff. So when it was this, I'm like, I want clean and something I'd be proud to put on my body.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like that's really amazing to hear coming from you, because if it's something you wouldn't use, you wouldn't market it. And I have a really hard time with sponsorships and things, because that's one of my big things. Like, I don't want to advertise something that I don't truly believe in.
Yes. So I love that. I love that you are like that. I have no option. Like in our friend group, I am just known as the one who's so blunt. I don't know how to be fake. I am the worst liar ever. So if I don't like it or know it, you're going to know. Which was why I was like, Jordan, tell me your questions. What do you want to ask? Because I want to make sure I know. Because I wouldn't even be able to pivot, because I'm just so straightforward. But like, I used this yesterday at 2:30 in the afternoon when the kids were at school. Like, I use my products. I love my products, and I believe in them. I really do. So, which has been, I don't know, hard for me to say. Like, getting it out there. It's been this like crazy journey for me to be comfortable sexually. It's been really cool.
I feel like you probably had a lot of growth that also came with starting this business in the world of sexuality and pleasure for yourself.
Jordan, like, seriously, so full disclosure, I was sexually abused as a kid, and that has always been there, and I overcame it, and I thought, and there was some holdbacks in my relationship sexually. There'd be some triggers, there'd be things that would go wrong. So when my husband said he really wants to do this, he thinks that there's a need for the market, I was kind of like, how am I going to talk to people about that? Like any time, if I'm not with like a girlfriend or a comfortable place, I start to panic. Happened to me the first day at AVN. I did have to like take a minute, went and prayed and did what I got to do, and just asked to be like grounded and not let that world scare me anymore. And that it can be such a beautiful world when you understand it, and with information you can make better and smarter decisions. And so it was like I made it like a duty for me to tell people so that I was able to overcome it. Like it's my duty to help people not go through what I've been through and to overcome it way sooner than what it took me to feel comfortable in my own skin.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think that that's inspirational for a lot of women who maybe have had a similar
And there's so
past or
many.
history. Yeah. Do you watch The Mormon Wives?
Oh, I've watched it like a couple of times. Did one of them have that?
More than one.
Oh, really?
In the newest season that came out, like there was a huge talk about that because it is very common in the Mormon culture. I don't know, you're from Utah. I don't know if you're Mormon or not, but yeah, it's just interesting because I think the more that we talk about this and the more that we shine a light on it, just the more, I don't want to say like safe because that's really not the right word, but just it allows other people to feel less alone
Yes.
with the experiences that they've had.
1,000,000%. And I'm a huge believer in when you know better, you do better. But if they're not taught, how are they ever going to do better? How are they going to stop cycles? And not even, I don't mean cycles like them doing it, even cycles of feeling shame around sex. How do you even teach your children and move on and comfortably talk to my children about something I want them to be open to me about when I'm uncomfortable talking about a certain topic? So again, that's why I am so passionate about the wellness side, because there needs to be questions. There needs to be identifiers and solutions to feel comfortable with your body again. Hey, start here, try this. We want you to start trying this. Let's see if we can actually get your body to respond. Even if mentally you can't respond yet and emotionally, let's see if your body physically responds to it. And then we move up in degrees of products and skill levels and things like that.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I didn't know that. Now I'm going to go watch it. I watched the first season, but I kind of, again, I have 4 kids. I have no life. So I drifted off, but that's interesting.
Definitely go check it out. It was, I mean, I'm a junkie for the Mormon Wives. I don't know why. I don't even watch TV at all, but that's one show where I watched the entire season in like 24 hours because it's so good.
I love watching their fashion and their hair. Sometimes when I watch it, I'm like, that's a cute outfit. That's cute. That's cute. Okay, I like how she stacked that. That's cute.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious, if somebody was brand new to toys, they've never had a toy, they're really feeling anxious about bringing it into the bedroom.
okay.
What kind of advice would you give them when they want to add a toy into the bedroom?
I would give them the advice that it totally has to be a conversation first, and explain that these toys don't replace, they enhance. That's it. So specifically, let's talk females. Often if a female wants to bring in a toy, the man feels he's not enough. And it has nothing to do with that. Most of the time, it's our bodies are complicated and different, and we respond differently to things. So letting the females know that it's normal and that you're not trying to take away from anything. You're just adding, and it will make the connection that you're probably wanting so much better.
Yeah. I think we often think like a toy replaces our partner, but they don't. Like,
No.
you cannot physically replace the skin to skin, like the body warmth, like that is not
100%.
replaceable with any toy.
No, those are things that we do our best to replicate in the toy world, but you really can't. But the connection, the success that a man feels or a woman feels that they were a part of that climax,
Yes.
those are worth it. And so I would say have the conversation first, and then I would start with something very small, very low skill level. My bullet is I'm obsessed
Yes.
with this product. I designed this one, made so many changes to make it just right, but it's small, it's little, it can disappear in the middle if either one of you decides, a kid walks in, or either husband or wife or whatever, your partner decides, you know what, this is too much, we're not ready. Good. It's not inside of you and obscure and having to take off all these things. It's just we get rid of it. But it literally, it's low frequency, so you don't hear it. You don't really feel like it's there until you're the female. Then you know it's there. That would be my advice, is a conversation and really focusing on we're enhancing us together. We are not replacing any of us.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's great advice. What are some conversations that you hope that Luxxxe starts to help normalize over the next handful of years?
I really want Luxxxe to normalize sex being luxurious, not a luxury, because there's a difference. And I want people to feel proud when they buy one of our products, like they have spent money and made an investment in their sexuality, in their intimacy, in their pleasure. And I feel like when you do that, there's a sense of pride that comes with it, as well as I want it to be classy and high end, where if you walked into a doctor's office, they would be proud of it on the shelves too, reaching for it when the problem that's being brought by the patient, this is a solution. I want them to go for our products and say, I've checked them out. I love the ingredients. I love what they stand for. We need to start working this muscle. We need to start milking the prostate. I need you to orgasm. You're recovering from cervical cancer. We need you to do this. Or, hey, we noticed that you're going through perimenopause. Or this lube, hey, this has hyaluronic acid. It has healing in it. Let's start using some of this. I want people to know what we stand for on that.
I love that.
Yeah, I hope it normalizes that.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Always good to chat with you.
I know.
It's so funny because it's like we literally just met 2 weeks ago.
I was so nervous, and Sean's like, don't you remember? You guys hit it off so good. And I was like, yeah, why am I so nervous? We talked so easily together.
My first question for you before we wrap up today's episode is, what is something that you are looking forward to personally exploring in the future?
Sexually?
Yeah.
I want to get really good at multiple orgasms. The more I've been using toys and exploring them, it helps my body get to places I couldn't be naturally. And I find myself, it's like I keep moving the goalpost. I'm like, okay, I got 2. I want to see about 3. All right, we've done 3. I want to see like where we can get with here. So we're like ramping that up. And obviously he's all for it because he's like, the longer we can go, the better. So yeah, personally, that's like a goal of mine, is like learning to relax and work through it.
I love it. If I told you how many orgasms I had in 24 hours, you might shoot me.
Or ask for all your advice.
Might have been, I think we lost count at like 28-ish.
No.
Partnered. Yes.
In 24 hours?
Yes.
Right. I'll be getting some notes. When we have our Hush Hush podcast, I'll be getting some notes.
Now, my last question for you is, how do you define pleasure?
Oh, well, I love this question. I define pleasure as when our physical senses are in alignment with our mental or emotional needs. So the things that you want and are looking for mentally and emotionally, when you can feel that physically in whatever sense, I think that's when you experience pleasure.
I love that. Love it. So this has been great. Where can the listeners find you at? Where can they find Luxxxe?
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking. So we are on Instagram as LUXX_toys. Unfortunately, we can't have our triple X's because, like you said, they're against us. So we are LUXX_toys on Instagram, or you can go to Luxxxe.com with the actual full Luxxxe, because we bought that one. And then actually we are going to be running, I forgot to ask you before we started, but we wanted to run a promo code for your listeners.
Yeah. We love that.
Yeah. So you just need to let me know what you want the code to be.
Yeah.
And we got to put it out there. So
It'll be Jordan Donnell.
okay.
And we'll put all of that in the show notes for everybody.
Perfect. Yeah. Then we'll
will be
run a
there, too.
promotion for that, and you let me know the dates, and you can put all the information on there. So yeah, all of your listeners, let's see what they go for.
Yes,
I'm
I
so
love
excited.
that. Awesome. Well, thank you for chatting with me.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to see you, and I wish you so much luck and progress with this. I love what you're doing. I love being a part of it.
You're gonna make me emotional.
I'm so proud of you. I'm just so proud
you're like
of you.
a proud mom.
I am. I'm a mom. This is what I do.
I love it. This podcast is sponsored by Splash Blanket, a luxurious waterproof blanket for every messy moment, as well as ProDX, your go-to at-home STI testing company, and Fex, your prescription non-hormonal vaginal birth control gel. Thank you for joining today and continuing to bring awareness to women's health. If you love the show, please subscribe so you never miss another episode, and leave a review for others to see. If you want to see me on the daily, you can check out my bio for links to all my pages. Be sure to share this episode with your girlfriends. Thanks again, and see you next episode.